Today we have a submission from a 28-year-old woman who just heard that her best friend is a millionaire and she feels like shit. I know how relatable this is gonna be to so many people. It is not normal for a 27-year-old to be a millionaire. 8% of millionaires in the US are under the age of 30. If you've ever looked at a friend's success and just feel like a failure, I want you to pull a chair up. So I'm Sneha and this is Dear Money Whispers. I've seen the big paychecks at Google, and I've also lived through financial scarcity from the 2008 financial crisis. I've seen both sides of the coin, and whether you're earning 200K or you're living paycheck to paycheck, we all have financial anxiety. And I truly am just so over the finance bros and the judgmental Sallys for making us feel bad about money. This is a space for your most raw and real money stories. I want to be that financial big sister for you who gives you the unfiltered truth and holds you accountable, but also doesn't shame you for getting that $7 latte on a Monday morning just to get your day started. So if you're ready to get unapologetically real about your money, hit subscribe and let's get into it. This is what she said. Dear Money Whispers, me and one of my best friends are 28 and we've always had a different income. It's honestly really hard to talk to her about money because sometimes I feel like she's obsessed with status symbols, but also because I'm just nowhere near being a millionaire. I make decent money, but to be honest, my dad handles my money. I know a lot of people judge this, and this is exactly why I don't say it out loud. They say women should talk about money, but I've heard her make really judgmental comments about how other women are financially taken care of, and that just makes them submissive. And now that I know she's a millionaire, I just feel like shit. It feels really daunting to want to become financially independent, and I know logically that I can learn from her, but I just don't feel like she's the person that I can talk to about this. From feeling behind. So there's so many things I want to talk about here, but I'm just so happy that you're confessing this out loud because I don't think you understand how many people I've had this conversation with recently. Maybe it's like the life phase that I've entered being a 27-year-old woman, especially if you are running in circles of people in big tech and finance and whatever. It's like people are just becoming millionaires like it's normal. And let me just tell you, it is not normal for a 27-year-old to be a millionaire. I literally searched it up because I was curious. 8% of millionaires in the US are under the age of 30. 8%. Like, that is not the standard that people should be looking towards. Nevertheless, I really do thank you for sharing this because I think a lot of people, not even just women, experience this. And also we're just gonna get really real about the baggage that you carry that spreadsheets and budgets are just not gonna show you. There is a lot here to unpack, but I just do wanna say that you can simultaneously hold two truths at the same time. One, that you're happy that your best friend just reached this financial milestone, but you can also feel like shit for this happening. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just honestly makes you human. I think we all have that friend that's maybe in like a different income bracket from us, whether it's that friend from childhood that you catch up with every single winter break, or who's in a different industry from you, or who has not made a single penny to their name yet. I think that's normal, but what's not normal is using your net worth to define your self-worth. And that's just truly a big no-no from the Money Whispers girlies. If your friend is using her financial independence as a way of implying that anyone who is not is submissive or basically inferior to them, that is not empowering. That is just judgmental. But I think what's like really happening is she's playing status games and not wealth games. This is actually a concept that Naval Ravikant talks a lot about. Wealth is a positive sum game. We can all win. Status is a zero-sum game. Only one can win. And Neville says, ignore people playing status games. They gain status by attacking people playing wealth creation games. And I really love this picture because I think it does a good job of showing the difference between wealth and status games. But let's just back up a little bit. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt of what's happening. Why do people even play status games to begin with? Because status games are played by people who are concerned about pleasing others. They want to live a life that impresses others, everyone basically actually, but themselves. People's approval and validation is addictive. And to be so honest with you, I don't think this makes your friend a bad person. I think a lot of people play people-pleasing games. People grew up in environments where prestige and class were applauded, or maybe they came from resource-starved backgrounds. Status games are just a projection of your own insecurities, and it doesn't matter what your age is. I've seen people play it when they're 25 years old, and I've also seen people play it at 65 years old. But I do think this concept is really interesting, so I want to dive a little bit deeper into why people even play status games to begin with. I'm sure that we've all heard variations of this timeline where it's like, get promoted by 25, get engaged by 28, get married by 29, have children by 30, pay off your mortgage by 35. Oh, and in the middle of that, go to Japan, run a marathon, and become a millionaire. The math is just not mathing to me, you know? Very devout believer that timelines are truly a bunch of bull. Yes. When your society is operating on these timelines, that's one level of pressure. But what makes it even worse is when you have friends that are also operating on these timelines, because this creates a pressure that you are behind. And I want to bring back that stat about how only 8% of millionaires are under the age of 30. Like I said, not the standard. But it doesn't matter if I say that fact to you, right? Because right in your inner circle, you have your best friend. She is a millionaire. She made it. That means you can do the same thing too. In some realms, that's really cool. You're really proud of your friend. That means you're capable of doing that too. But this is just so much more than comparison. And psychologists actually have a term for this, which is called temporal self-discrepancy. This is the agonizing gap that you feel from where you are right now and the idealized version of yourself. You're not reacting to the facts. I just told you the fact, but you're probably not reacting to the facts. You are reacting to the invisible clock in your head. Let's be so fully honest. When it is as easy as being able to tap your phone and pay for coffee using Apple Pay, when it is as easy to see million reels about people quitting their 9 to 5 to start their dreams, which looks like a bunch of matchas and mood boards, when it is as easy to see people who are raising millions of dollars without a product to build their ideas, I get it. Your brain is seeing this information and it's shortcutting. It's thinking, wow, there must be a linear track for me to become successful, to be like the other people around me. It must be that people are experiencing overnight success. But it truly is not that simple, because the invisible clock has one faulty assumption. The idealized version of yourself that you're measuring against is not you. It's your best friend who's just become a millionaire. It's that person on the internet that just quit their 9 to 5. The 5 people that you're closest to are a representation of who you want to become. And you want to surround yourself with people who are better than you, who make you want to grow. The problem is when you don't end up knowing what you want, or even giving yourself the space to figure out what you want, you end up using someone else's life as a placeholder. And if that's not actually what you want, guess what? You end up feeling behind. And this creates a vicious cycle, because when you end up feeling behind, each decision feels heavier than it should. Not because you're lazy, but because the harder question is actually asking yourself, what do you, not your friends, not your neighbors, not your parents, what do you really want? This persistent pressure becomes decision paralysis, because maybe committing to a path feels really scary, because it would be a big waste of time if you made the wrong decision. And maybe also figuring out what you want feels like it would be a disappointment to the people who are supposed to love you. And I really empathize with this. I heard this quote from a YouTube video by Key. Everyone else received a map, but you're still trying to figure out which direction you're facing. Feeling behind is actually relative and arbitrary. The quiet shame that we have, it's rooted in the rate of progress instead of the actual progress that we've made. And I think it's just so funny, because someone could have looked at my life 2 years ago and been like, wow, like Sneha, you've made it. You work in big tech, you are getting the big paychecks, you're in one of the best cities in the world, living around the people that you love. I was living a good life, but the fact that I did not feel fulfilled by the compounding numbers in my bank account was really telling me something. It gave me stable footing, it gave me financial security. These were things that I had craved, and those were goals that I had set for myself. But I knew what fulfillment tasted like before my job at Google. And the thing is, once you've tasted it, like, you could never go back. And that made me feel behind. Fulfillment for me came from working on this startup before I joined Google to use consumerism for good. And I still remember, like, I would work on that project until 3 a.m. every night with no pay. But I just felt so into this idea, and I would work relentlessly on this. And I just felt fulfilled. I finally took the leap of faith after 2 years to quit my job and go full-time on Money Whispers because I had reached a financial milestone for myself that made me feel ready to help other women become financially independent. But then it's funny because once I left, I was seeing all these people who were still working their 9 to 5 to self-fund their dreams. And I was like, God damn it. Like, maybe I should have done that. Feeling behind is a mindset. You will always feel behind because there will be someone in life who is going to be better than you at something. And I know y'all in the comments are going to be like, Sneha, like, what if someone won the New York City Marathon and they broke a world record? Sally, she just ran the New York City Marathon and got first. Hallelujah. That is amazing. But really, that is freaking amazing. Sally probably wasn't drinking at her friend's engagement party, even though she really wanted to, because she had that early Sunday morning training run. Or Sally had to be really intentional with her time and her training to make sure she did not get injured before running the New York City Marathon, this life moment. That's the thing, that life is truly just a bunch of trade-offs. When you feel ahead in one part of your life, you are most likely, 99.99999% probably behind in another part of your life. And guess what? That's just so normal. Sally is probably so proud of herself for getting number 1 in the New York City Marathon and breaking the world records. Like, go off, queen. But at the same time, maybe she did really want to be like present for her friend's engagement party. Or maybe she didn't want to be spending like 2 hours at the gym trying to stretch her entire knee out to make sure she wasn't getting injured. When you're focused on one thing, you're going to be sacrificing in something else, and there is nothing wrong with that. So, let's get into my big sister advice for you. This sounds very counterintuitive because we live in a very hyper-urgent, hyper-optimized society. But my advice is to slow down.
What? Sneha, slow down? What do you mean?
No, slow down. Ask yourself honestly, why do you want to be financially independent? What does that mean for you? Does that mean that you have more control over your Friday nights, about the job that you're pursuing, about the time you get to travel? Do you just want to be an equal to your friends who are playing status games? This is probably the single most important question that you're going to ask yourself. Just be so honest about your answer here. There is no judgment. It honestly just gives you clarity. I actually think this is going to help you a lot in focusing less on your millionaire best friend and the distance between you and her, and actually start focusing on the distance between your former self who wasn't even thinking about financial independence a year ago to the person that you are today. To the person that's like, oh, maybe I want to take control over my money. And something that helped me in this process of focusing on me versus me a year ago was actually just like I said, slowing down. This looked like reading a lot of Buddhist and Stoic texts. I'm not telling you what religion you should follow. I'm just saying for me, this really helped because I realized that a lot of life is just slow blooming. I mean, just look at a tree. Oak trees take 80 plus years to reach their peak. You realize that nothing comes overnight. There is no such thing as overnight success. You see those folks who are winning the lottery? You want to know how many of them lose their money within a year? Nearly 1 in 3 people. And you know why? They impulsively spend. They have poor financial decision making. They lack the experience to handle large sums of money. Let's get this out of your head. You are not going to become a millionaire by tomorrow. And honestly, that is the kindest thing that the universe could do for you. Real wealth, the wealth that Naval Ravikant talks about, is a slow burn. And it's built in the quiet moments of grit and persistence and just observing life. I read Ikigai while I was going through that phase of reading Buddhist and Stoic texts. And I love these 3 specific Japanese principles that help us shift how we look at the passage of time. And I think these are going to help you too. And please excuse my pronunciation, please. Number 1 is Kaizen. This is the 1% rule. Basically, start so small that you can't fail. If your goal for the day is to open your bank account without fainting, do that. Open your bank account, look at 3 transactions, close it. That's amazing. The next day, look at 5 transactions. 1% better every single day. For me, that was starting to confront my fears head on, starting extremely small. That was going for a workout class to a cycling class, to a kickboxing class, because I was so scared to work out in front of other people. I was so self-conscious. I was like, I don't have the right workout clothes. Like, this is just not going to work for me. What's the worst that happens? No one's actually looking at you. No one actually cares. You realize that most of the fear is just living inside of your head. 2 is shoshin. This is known as the beginner's mind. Give yourself the permission to be the idiot in the room. And the best way to do this without feeling like shit is surrounding yourself with learners and students of life rather than know-it-alls. Next time someone says a high yield savings account, tell them, hey, can you explain this to me like I'm 5 years old? What is a high yield savings account? To be honest, most of us are just faking it till we make it. And the 3 is ganbaru. It's patient persistence. This is about tenacity versus pace. My dad says this saying to me, live to fight another day. I think anything great is a slow burn. Just think about how Conrad yearns for 3 seasons for Belly. That is a slow burn worth waiting for. And to my original poster, Feeling Behind, if you want actual physical, tactical advice about how to get your personal finance journey started, I will share resources of a few books and podcasts that I listen to that really help me get into the mindset about how to save and invest, especially as a woman. The only thing that I ask you before you do that is to answer the first question. Ask yourself why you want financial independence, because I really do think that dictates how the rest of your journey goes. And it really makes sure that you're playing the wealth game instead of a status game. And I'm not going to tell you whether or not you should be friends with your friend. That's your decision. You're an adult. But it is up to you to figure out, once you realize that feeling behind is a myth, do you still want to play games with people who still believe in status games? I'm sending you so much love. Feeling behind, just like I said, feeling behind is relative and arbitrary. And wealth is for living your life and not scoring number 1 on the leaderboard. This is Sneha, and we're signing off from Money Whispers. And I'll see you next week.